Mr. President, reports show that since the incident 3 hours ago, the country is in turmoil. Our financial communities are impacted, and our satellite communications are down. An emergency meeting has been called. Mr. President, this is a national crisis.
Spare me the details. Exactly just what is it that you want? Dr. Eggman?
Well, let's just get down to business then, shall we, Mr. President? I won't bore you with all the details since I know you are a very busy man. Mr. President, my demands are quite simple. Surrender to the Eggman Empire and make no attempts to resist. Otherwise, your country will cease to exist. You have 24 hours to give me your answer.
No way!
What the?
Sonic!
Eggman Empire! Yeah, right!
What the heck's going on here?
Don't worry,
no.
Mr. President.
What did you
Everything's
do?
under control. Just leave it to us. Got it, Tails?
I got it! He's transmitting from the space colony Ark!
Okay, let's move it!
Wait up, Sonic!
Hey, you, wait!
Mr. President, we're receiving an incoming signal from our agent.
Inside that pyramid?
I saw Eggman go inside the pyramid. And more importantly, I saw that Batgirl go inside with him as well. But you saw them too, right?
Well, yeah!
We should be able to get into outer space from there. I don't know what this space colony is all about, but I'll find and destroy that cannon, and then kick their Imperial butts.
All right.
I'll go and find the entrance!
Greetings, I'm Solidus-Skully, and welcome back to Sonic Adventure 2 with the Hidden Base. Yeah, on to slightly more relevant topics. Today it's Grand Finals footies week for, Australia at the moment, and if you're a Sydney Swans fan, well, let's just say you're going to be feeling like Tails right here. Sinking in despair. Yes, that is the only reason why I decided to bring up football, but on a serious note though, Jesus Christ, Brisbane are fucking killing it at the moment, and Sydney, Jesus Christ, they're fucking whiffing it. Not that I really care, mind you, I mean, my team didn't make it to the Grand Final, so it's neither here nor there in this case. In any case, to discuss the Hidden Base, this is basically the harder variant of an earlier version of Eggman stage called Sand Ocean. Basically, it's this pyramid base during the nighttime, except now it's during the day. And yeah, you get a nice mixture of foes here. You don't only get the gun beetles and robots that we've been seeing all throughout the game, you know, them attacking Eggman's base and trying to put a stop to him and his world-conquering plans, but in turn you also get to see a few enemies from Eggman's own armada. Eggman's robots, badniks, if you're of the American verbiage, whatever you prefer. Although to kind of talk about that a little bit, where the hell did the badnik name even come from? And I'm not talking specifically like in canon, because badnik meant to be referring to Robotnik, but I mean in terms of marketing, was it meant to be... I don't know, was it meant to be like a musical pun play off, Badnik, Beatnik, that kind of thing, in terms of what they were meant to be referring to Eggman as? I don't know really, I mean, it's kind of weird in and of itself. I was thinking that it might have been a Beatles thing, because, Beatniks kind of being associated with that kind of thing, I am the Eggman, I am the Walrus, sort of thing, but maybe I'm getting my terminology wrong. It's kind of weird, because, I mean, a lot of early Sonic the Hedgehog development stuff does have a lot of musical motifs in and of themselves, so... yeah, I don't really have too much to say here. In this case, though, Pyramids... I'm thinking about the next stage. Hidden Base is... well, I mean, it is a nice stage where you can get a nice big amount of score threshold. It's just that, compared to a lot of the other mech stages in the game, it can be a bit more treacherous, and, if you're not careful, you can get pipped a little bit more, and lose all those delicious, tasty points. And otherwise, Tails would just say that everything's okay, and the difference you can tell between the Eggman robots versus the gun robots is that Eggman still uses animals in his, robotic capsules, in keeping with the classic Sonic, whereas the gun beetles just use the Chaos Drives, which are basically these little energy crystals that power the robots. And, I don't know if this was exclusively a Sonic X thing, or if it was something that was also brought up in some peripheral material for Adventure 2, but yeah, the Chaos Drives were in fact invented by, well, Dr. Eggman's grandfather, Professor Gerald Robotnik, so, Yeah, he thought about a more energy-efficient power system years in advance of anything we were using in 2001, let alone even now, really, so... Where's our Gerald Robotnik? Who knows, really? Probably plotting world domination. Or apparently still alive, in accordance with, you know, the Sonic the Hedgehog 3 movie trailer, which... I'll have a little bit more to say about that as we get to the Dark Side story, where Gerald's role becomes a little bit more practiced. Because as you're seeing right here in the Hero Side story, it's very much just playing like a bit of a typical Sonic story. Eggman has a new super weapon, Sonic and Pals have to go stop it, team up with Knuckles here and there, and oh golly gee, what a fun-filled romp. But again, I already discussed that in the review about how Sonic Adventure 2 expertly layers its plot, so yeah, neither here nor there in that case. Oh and by the way, destroying little breakable objects like, you know, the Eggman stone doors or, you know, the little rock statues here and there, yeah, they do also count towards your score threshold, they just count in little points of 10, so, yeah, it is important for you to go off and destroy, you know, objects large and small, so, yeah, I mean, if you fail to make up the deficit by getting big lock-on chains, you know, it might be worth going out of your way to just sort of destroy some of the small fry here and there. And okay, so any last passing remarks I have to say about Hidden Base? Really love a lot of the industrial rock music that plays out a lot of Tales of Stages in this one. I don't think it gets enough love because, man, it is fucking jazzy as hell. It's going... And inelegantly as I was trying to describe my feelings towards this music, needless to say, I enjoy it. Yeah, cool, dude! So that's pretty much all we have to say here. In terms of collecting animals, it pretty much works in the same way as it did in Sonic Adventure, where again, you pretty much collect animals, submit them in the Chow Garden to give them little buffs and stats for your little buddies, and that's pretty much all she wrote. Although again, as I mentioned in the Chow Garden video in and of itself, I do find that the animals kind of fuck with the Chow's perfectly good visual design, although it is saved by giving them unique animations, so... Yeah, I don't know, kind of a pick your poison kind of thing, but I don't know, I still feel like the Chow kind of work with a sort of base state, and you can alter them with the Chaos Drives in and of themselves depending on which stats you favor, so... Yeah, there is always some good stuff on the horizon. Oh, more gameplay, delicious, tasty gameplay with Pyramid Cave, a really wicked stage, and one, well, that really enjoyable to play. It does prioritize a lot of speed compared to a lot of other things, but there is, you know, a few puzzle elements here and there, a few other little pathways you can take, and on the whole, it's a very well-designed stage, and again, not that you're really seeing it, but, you know, this is still building upon the whole, you know, Mega Drive-ish level design that Sonic and Knuckles basically perfected. You know, you get a little bit of speed first up, you know, enjoy yourself, have a good time. You know, then you have a few stop-and-start platforming things, you know, go up and down, make sure that you jump up to certain platforms. Then you get more speed, then you can find hidden routes here and there, and on the whole, it just makes the Sonic gameplay really fun and fan-fucking-tastic. Of course, it is still important to note that a lot of people's detriments of Sonic Adventure 2 is that there's not a lot of Sonic gameplay to go around, and I'm not going to berate people for wishing that there was more Sonic gameplay to go around, because, I mean, what we already have is still pretty well refined, and in terms of what we get with both the Sonic and Shadow stages, but at the same time, though, I feel like the game does sort of balance itself out well enough. I mean, granted, this is something that I feel like a potential Adventure 3, if it had been released at the time, could have focused on, but... to be honest, I guess the best you'd really sort of have to get out of that is Shadow the Hedgehog, potentially, but... Yeah, the less said about that, the better. And not even in a negative way, because that has its own little gameplay faculties that people disagree with. But anyway, this is a little gameplay element of the now. It's hitting switches, flipping things around, turning bolt cranks, and of course Sonic's new ability, the bounce bracelets. If you remember the secondary ability of the bubble shield in Sonic the Hedgehog 3, well, that's basically what the bounce bracelet is here to do in Adventure 2. It doesn't give you a shield, mind you, but it does allow you to basically just get a little bounce up using Sonic's rolling ball form, and can be quite useful. Oh, no sick radical rail grinding for us. Shucky darns. But yes, even during the day, the ghosts are out to play. Oh, what ancient Egyptian spirits have we aroused from the dead this time? Well, I mean, it's not really us, it's really more Eggman, so to speak, but Yeah, he does have a habit of rousing ghosts, as his stuff in Sonic 3 was anything to go by, or yeah, it would have been the Sonic and Knuckles portion actually with Sandopolis. And speaking of which, if you were thinking of any references here, no, this isn't Angel Island, but just completely different this area to begin with. As we play the Limbo Martin. Yeah, putting all that aside though, yeah, let's just say we're going to be in for some ghostly hauntings here and there, where Sonic and the gang will have to play penalty games with the Shadow Realm and all his dastardly friends. Can't get it. That's why we must use the speed boosters that everybody hates. Oh no, automated speed. It destroyed the Sonic forever. Or at least so was the phrase in, like, 2009 or whatever, when everybody pinpointed Adventure 2 as being where Sonic went wrong because it had Shadow and guns and people die and the military conspiracies and... yeah. I don't know. I feel like the conversation between Sonic Adventure 2 is a bit more balanced nowadays, since, you know, it has an equal amount of staunch defenders as it is, you know, people who do criticize the game for what it does, so... I don't know, balance has been restored in the Force. Somewhat. But it was a very different story in 2009, let me tell ya. Yeah, you might be noticing those little ancient ruins right over there. That's basically where you can activate the Mystic Melody. What that is? Well, you won't actually be seeing until we get around to Shadow's story, so I stay my tongue, but... ostensibly, those also allow you to access different pathways, either to get, you know, extra lives, rings, or finding the Lost Chow, which is what it's usually meant for 9 times out of 10, so, yeah. That's its gameplay functionality. Fun-filled loop gameplay. By the way, you might also be recognizing some very familiar robots. This isn't E102 Gamma from Sonic Adventure, but rather E1001. Basically just a mass-produced variant, and, it does actually play into a bit of trivia from Sonic Heroes in terms of some early team setups, because, yeah, apparently Gamma was apparently meant to be revived in Sonic Heroes, but they swapped him out for Omega for some reason. I would say it was because they didn't want to cheapen the death of one of their characters, but then again, in that same breath, they also had Shadow show up in Heroes regardless, which, you know, does sort of tie into his ultimate fate in this game, so... really, what the fuck? But yeah, either way, you don't have to worry about E102 Gamma having an angsty story arc, because basically, you blow him up and don't really give a shit. Although it really was more Amy who kind of really cared about him, so... Queesh. Wish in one hand, shit in the other, I suppose. At last, I got an emblem.
Looks like we're heading toward the center of the base.
That egghead sure loves mechanical things, doesn't he? I'll bet he has 1 or 2 spaceships lying around here somewhere.
The door's locked. We need a key to get in there.
No problem. We can find it. Right, Knuckles?
What? Why do I have to find the key?
We're counting on you, buddy. The world's greatest treasure hunter.
Well, by Jove, I'll do it! To the Death Chamber! So, yeah, Death Chamber. Again, if Aquatic Mind wasn't enough to turn you on the treasure hunting gameplay at this stage, then this stage might do it, because it is very labyrinthian, and, well, again, it does also share a similar problem with the Space Colony arc levels and Shadow the Hedgehog, where all you really have to navigate with is, well, the maps on the walls, although, again, given the fact that this little pyramid does sort of go on a bit of a triangular motion, you shouldn't get lost too bad, but there are a lot of nooks and crannies for you to explore, which, again, to a lot of people negative about the treasure hunting gameplay, well, this might be an exercise in frustration, but... again, given the fact that it is very triangular, and the fact that, you know, if you do stick to that sort of pattern, you should generally be able to find where you need to go, it shouldn't be too bad. It's only really gonna become a major pain in the ass if you're trying to A-rank the stages. Everything else, though, not really too big of an issue, except for those ghosts. Horrible, horrible ghosts that actually shrink in size the more you hit them. Oh well, do get some very smooth jazz kind of music playing right now, and, yeah, a bit of differences between the GameCube and the Dreamcast version of Sonic Adventure 2. Lyrical content. This one has a lyric that says "damn" in it. Oh my god, Sonic swearing. Whatever. Yeah, the Dreamcast version actually has a whole lyric. Because again, the song is pretty much just talking about, you know, Knuckles coming to terms with, well, basically his whole deal in Sonic and Knuckles, where, you know, he was trusting Eggman, but then he betrayed him, and then now he has to team up with Sonic, and then he's like, "You're damn right, Knuckles. So that's gonna be my canonical thing for classic Sonic. You know, when Eggman electrocuted Knuckles, and Sonic was like, "You're damn right, Knuckles, now let's fight." Queashed. Yeah. To kind of talk about the design a little bit, though, like, I mean, I know this game is using, like, a lot of very, I wouldn't say standardized tropes, because Sonic doesn't really do the whole Egyptian theme much, apart from, obviously, Sandopolis Zone and, well, to a very paltry degree in Sonic Lost World, but, I don't know, I do kind of like the molding of aesthetics, where, again, like, you can tell it's Eggman's base because he plasters his face and has his machines everywhere, but by that same token, it still keeps a lot of that, you know, a lot of that ancient culture that, you know, the ghosts spring up from. I don't know, it's, makes for quite a cool level piece to travel through, and, gives it a bit of visual identity, which is, always rather important. Ouchers! Oh, dear. Green fire. That was the fire that attacked you in Burning Ranges. Burning Ranges. How I wish there was another game, but sadly there isn't. Or at the very least a port. I mean, seriously though, like, I mean, Sega's been kind of all, you know, all on a bit of a porting spree over the last couple of years, and, I don't know, I feel like Burning Ranges could be a very easy way to get some cheap cash. I mean, it's kind of saying something where, you know, even Fighting Vipers managed to get in via, you know, Lost Judgments, you know, as an arcade machine, so really... Excuse me. I don't know. Oh dear, spooky ghosts. So yeah, there are pretty much two variants. The ones in which they can hurt you, and the other which pretty much just jump out to say good day, give you a bit of a spook, and then just trip Knuckles on his feet. But apart from that, not too much to say. As we enter the penalty game, where we have to dig with our shovel claws. I suppose since we do have a relatively large chunk of level, there was something I wanted to bring up in Sonic Stage, but I kind of forgot, so fuck it, I might as well bring up a certain ability that you can actually get if you return to City Escape and, you know, dive down some steel crates using the bounce bracelet that you wouldn't have had up until this point. But you can actually get an ability called the Magic Hands, where basically by cycling through the Y button and the, you know, pressing the attack button, you can then actually trap enemies into a small little sigil by basically using Sonic's Magic Hands. Which was apparently meant to be a reference towards one of the earlier designs of Sonic, where he was a rabbit design where he was meant to grab enemies with his ears and throw them around. Which is funny, because I believe that sort of design later became one of Ristar's abilities from, you know, the titular Ristar game from, you know, the Mega Drive, so... curious. Although, speaking of Ristar, and again, I know we're not talking about Sonic Unleashed at the moment, but I always felt that the sort of Ristar style platforming is basically the Werehog, you know, in a 3D space, so... I don't know, 3D Ristar could be potentially interesting as we continue on our Sega topography.
It's closer.
Bong. Oh, dearie me. That was foolish. Very, very foolish. So yeah, now you realize how to do this puzzle, and oh my god, there are bats. Knuckles hasn't liked dealing with bats. Oh. Yeah, that is admittedly a bit of a treacherous place to kind of put the key, but yeah, that's frustrating. To sort of talk about, you know, the location of the keys in terms of anything else. Oh, Millennium Puzzle. Yeah, basically, the keys and indeed the Emerald Shards are randomized each and every time you reset the game, so... Yeah, while you can technically memorize all the different randomized locations in which they put the keys and Emerald Shards or whatever, yeah, there is also the factor of, well, yeah, it's not exactly something easy like Sonic Adventure, where I believe they do pretty much stick in a set pattern, so... Yeah, you can't technically cheese your way through it if you, you know, feeling like a little bit of a cheaty cheat. As many people so often are. Yeah, to still sort of defend the gameplay style while we still have it, I will say that not all the you know, key item placements are as dickish as this. It's just, Well, sometimes they can be a bit treacherous. Oh, dear, the ranking system isn't gonna look too fondly on this.
Not too bad.
Oh. Well, could have been worse.
Huh? Who's there? What the... A ghost?
So, ladles and dudes, this is King Boom Boo. Look at its LSD-laced tongue and, yeah, you remember earlier on when I was talking about that one Sonic X episode where Amy gets possessed by a ghost? This was the leader of them, and it also shows up in that episode. But yeah, I really like how the boss fights, particularly this boss fight is set out for Knuckles, because it really does play with his abilities in mind, which, you know, it utilizes his digging and climbing abilities and, you know, the basic punch, obviously, but, I don't know, it does sort of make me wonder, like, how else they could have adapted very similar boss fights for Knuckles using this gameplay style, because it utilizes all of his elements as opposed to just, you know, being purely just like a sort of like punch, 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 or, you know, I suppose maybe in Sonic's case, just, you know, repeatedly homing attacking something. I don't know, there's a bit more strategy involved, and it does sort of make me wonder if, whether or not this sort of element will either be increased or removed based on Knuckles' performance in Frontiers, because he does have a bit of a combat system in that game, but, you know, it's quite obvious that he isn't designed to tackle a lot of the, you know, the robots and titans in that game, so really, yeah. I don't know, it just leaves me wondering what a potential Knuckles gameplay-ish thing could potentially do, assuming he has any specific boss fights for him in the future. Oh, I'm melting, what a world, what a world, what a world. This is how I feel when I have to get up in the morning. Horrible, horrible sunlight. Yeah, if you are quick enough, you can actually just sort of skim across the side of the, you know, the little alcove right there and get a second punch on him, but yeah, you gotta be really fast, and you don't really get much of an opportunity to do it, because otherwise he just goes up and goes, "Brah! I'm going surfing! Dude!" And then you gotta do the whole thing again as he tries to take a bite out of Knuckles' spiky little ass. Yeah, he'll launch his fireballs at you, he'll throw up a firewall, and, you know, that's pretty much all she wrote. Just sort of stick to hugging the back column and, just, you know, leisurely accelerating. Because, otherwise, well, he will catch up to you the further away he goes, so, yeah. Hugging corners, despite the fact that this thing is a ghost, will save you. Yeah, I never actually thought about that for a second. You know, that he could have just phased through the wall and, you know, phased through, you know, that column just to get Knuckles easily, since he is a ghost, but, well, that's just nerdy nitpicking. Anyway, we have vanquished the spirit. Penalty game! Go back to the darkness whence you came, because the door to darkness is now opened.
What a hassle.
That was a hassle, Knuckles. Now time for a cutscene.
That was pretty rough.
We did it! Let's go, Amy! Yeah!
You little thieves! Did you really think I'd get out of here alive?
Come and get some, Eggman!
Sonic!
Just leave it to me!
This time, I'll take your lives as well as the Chaos Emerald. I call on you to destroy these pests! Come out, my servant! Whoa.
Oh man, I absolutely love Eggman's theme in this game. It is fucking funkalicious. Anyway, yeah, the Egg Golem making its return from Sonic and Knuckles, and well, this is going back a little bit, but it did actually give credence to some of the online fan rumors at the time, back in 2001, where, yeah, apparently there was rumors that Sega were going to be making a Sonic and Knuckles RPG. Again, it was that was actually meant to be based on like some sort of code rumors from, you know, the original Sonic Adventure, but yeah, I mean, judging by stuff like, you know, the Egg Golem and, you know, some pyramid stuff, wouldn't really be too surprised by why people would think that back in the day, but anyway, just avoid its attacks, jump up on the restraining bolt, use the homing attack, and bada bing, you do the thing, and you do some sweet damage on this thing. So yeah, basically does this little Crash Bandicoot spin, it'll headbutt you, slam its fist down, and then a little temper tantrum. That's pretty much all she wrote, but it is still a pretty fun boss fight that does reward skill for maneuvering and timing, so yeah, not a bad boss fight. Delicious electricity. You are my Jesus juice. I wonder what Egyptian pharaoh this thing was intended to be worshipping, and how Eggman just sort of co-opted this thing going like, fuck it, you're my giant robot now. Or if this thing was just styled after a pharaoh and this is entirely robotic to begin with. Well, then again, it has a restraining bolt on it, so maybe Eggman did find a way to control the ghosts? Huh. Interesting. May potentially make for a cool Halloween Sonic kind of thing where Eggman fucks with ghosts and then ghosts decide to fuck with him. That's actually kind of cool now that I think about it, but we have no time for haunting frights, although it is kind of appropriate because it's in the October Halloween season. So on that note, I'm Solidus-Skully, keep it new metal, and catch you next time for more Sonic Adventure 2. Bye-bye.
Primary engine ignition on. Beginning liftoff countdown. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Shuttle liftoff.
So this is the space colony where Eggman is hiding. What the?
Is everyone alright? We should be landing soon.
The hatch doors are
Don't
open.
sweat it, Knuckles. The only thing in the cargo bay are those
What do you
Master
mean, don't
Emeralds.
sweat it?
Right?
Land the
Knock
shuttle
it
and
off,
let me
Knuckles.
out.
We're gonna crash this thing if you keep that up. Oh no! Don't touch that lever!